Right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this year's Fundraising and Communications webinar. Thank you very much for joining us. We'll just give it a few seconds while everyone comes in, and no doubt there will be more joining. As you'll have seen, this webinar is being recorded so that we can share it with those who are unable to join us today. So just please make note of that. We've still got quite a few joining, so we won't start just yet. So please just bear with us. As a point of housekeeping, could we ask that everyone who's joining could put their name and protected area into the chat? It's very useful for us to have a record of who's joining us today. So while we wait, if everyone could do that, that would be fantastic. A few more still joining, and then we'll get underway. Great. Okay, I think we've got a good number on now, and I'm sure there'll be some latecomers, but let's get underway. So yes, welcome to this year's Fundraising and Communications webinar for this year's Wildlife Ranger Challenge. Thank you very much for joining us. I'll just go through a bit of housekeeping again for those who have only just joined us. Please note that we are recording this webinar so that we can circulate the recording for those who are unable to join us today. We will also circulate the slides and are using an AI transcript so that we can circulate a summary for ease of reference. As mentioned to those who joined earlier, for housekeeping, can I ask that you put your name and protected area into the chat, as it's very useful for us to have a record of who's joined us today. We will have a Q&A session at the end of the webinar, which is due to last no more than an hour. But if you have questions along the way, please add them into the chat. Winnie, who is moderating the call, will either answer them directly or we will pick them up in the discussion at the end. Next slide, please, Coram. So I'll just start with some introductions. So I'm Dan, Tusk's COO, and I am joined today by Brandon Quentin Hicks, our Communications Officer, who will talk through the communications elements of WRC. Coralie Hyde, our Head of Digital, whose screen we're viewing at the moment, who will talk us through the fundraising elements. And Julie Cure, our Head of Finance, who will walk us through all the financial components. The call is meanwhile being moderated by Winnie and Duarte, whom many of you will know already as a key point of contact of ours and who is our Conservation Partnerships Officer. Also listening in today is Beth Crame, our Fundraising and Office Assistant, who is supporting the fundraising efforts through the Wildlife Ranger Challenge, and Magdalene Marucha, our Africa Events and Project Assistant. Next slide, please, Coral. So if you've already joined these sessions in previous years, then much of this will already be familiar to you, but hopefully still a useful refresher. But if you're new to the Wildlife Ranger Challenge, then this should give you a good feel for what lies ahead and how you can make the most out of your ranger team's involvement. I'll give an overview of the Wildlife Ranger Challenge and the timeline for this year. We'll talk through the marketing toolkit you should have received yesterday, some tips and recommendations for social media and making the most of that over the course of the campaign. likewise, how we can make the most of the fundraising components, and then Julie will talk us through the financial elements. Next slide, please, Coralie. Okay, so a quick overview for the Wildlife Ranger Challenge. I'm imagining many of you are already familiar with what it's all about, so I won't talk too long on this slide. There's more information and background in the marketing guide PDF that was sent yesterday. And yeah, here are some up-to-date facts and figures of the Wildlife Ranger Challenge to date. This year is the sixth year, the sixth consecutive Wildlife Ranger Challenge campaign. Since it was launched in 2020, it's now gone on to generate over $21 million or 16 million pounds since inception. Each year it supports up to 11,500 rangers across 24 countries, as shaded in the map there. And we're delighted to have over 70 organizations taking part. Next slide, please, Coral. This slide shows those of us who are involved in the Wildlife Ranger Challenge. The event is co-organized between Tusk and the Game Rangers Association of Africa. The founding donor is Mark Scheinberg. Many of you will be familiar with the name of the Scheinberg Relief Fund, which Mark Scheinberg set up to provide support during COVID. But that fund, they've moved on from that fund. So we now just acknowledge the original donor, Mark Scheinberg. We also have institutional partners in Natural State who helped co-found the Wildlife Ranger Challenge, the IRF, and URSA. Next slide, please, Coral. This provides an overview of where you and your peers are all taking part. You can see that we've got a good spread of participation across sub-Saharan Africa. Those in purple are all of the match partners, which is all of you who have joined us today, that will be generating funds through us and able to access the match. We also have a number of other teams, competitor partners, who take part under their own steam and do their own fundraising. But you can see we have a variety of ranger teams taking part across all sorts of terrains, from desert to forest and from savanna to sea. Next slide, please, Coral. This is just an overview of the key dates. We'll talk through more of these in due course. The event, this year's Wildlife Ranger Challenge, is launching on Tuesday next week, followed swiftly by the first of the training challenges, which are outlined on the left there. We're starting with the quiz. We have World Ranger Day coming up at the end of the month. Further training challenges through August, and then, as in previous years and around about the same sort of time, we have the culmination of the Wildlife Ranger Challenge with the half marathon race day on Saturday, the 20th September. Next slide, please, Coral. So this just gives you a quick overview of the support materials that are being provided by us to help with your participation, your communications, and your fundraising. I'll touch very briefly on the instructions. The instructions toolkit has already been shared to help those taking part in the challenge, if indeed they need any training pointers. Next slide, please, Coral. Just a little more detail on that instructions toolkit. The instructions toolkit, provides details of how to take part, the techniques involved to ensure that the challenges are undertaken correctly, and with some tips and pointers on training. A webinar on this has already taken place, and we're not going to go into any great detail here, but let us know if your protected area and your ranger team haven't been able to join this or don't have that information. They should all have it, but please flag if that is not the case. Next slide, please, Coral. Okay, so we're going to focus on today on both the marketing toolkit and the fundraising toolkit. So I'll walk you through the marketing toolkit now, and then I'll pass over to Coral to talk through the fundraising elements. Next slide, please, Coral. So the marketing toolkit, which was circulated yesterday, includes a separate marketing guide PDF, in which there is an overview of the event in case you need a useful summary of what the Wildlife Ranger Challenge is all about. It also includes the timeline, details of the social media hashtags and tags that we request that you include in your social media activity. It's even got a couple of suggested template social media posts in case you find them useful. We will be adding the press release to this, the launch press release, which will be going out for Tuesday's launch. We will be adding that into the folder, into the Dropbox folder, a link to which was included in the email as well. And that will be added in time for Tuesday. The marketing toolkit itself, the Dropbox folder, includes a number of assets that you may find useful for your social media and marketing of the event. Brandon will talk us through a bit more about the social media. Of course, we encourage you to add your own imagery and content, but you may find some of the contents in there useful. And we will be adding to this marketing toolkit as the event goes along. So, as and when we've got more to share with you, whether it's images or videos or social media graphics, as and when we will send an alert on the WhatsApp group so you know that there is more to go into to find in there. Next slide, please, Coral. So this just highlights that there is also the fundraising toolkit, which has also been circulated yesterday, which Coralie will walk us through later. Okay, next slide, please. And that details the contents of the Dropbox folder for the fundraising toolkit, all the details of how to make the most of your fundraising page. Again, a few more assets that you can use to support your fundraising page, and also a bit of background information that you may find useful about the funding and shortcuts to the Ranger teams on the Wildlife Ranger Challenge website, the Ranger team map that we showed you earlier. Next slide, please. Okay, so we'll now walk you through some of the key moments in the campaign. Like I said at the start, if you're familiar with the Wildlife Ranger Challenge and taking part in previous years, then nothing here will be massively new to you, but it's good as a refresher. And of course, some of the dates are a little bit different this year, so it's good to give you the heads up now. Next slide, please, Carl. So as discussed, we are launching on Tuesday. The actual launch day, we varied over the years. Last year, we went out a little earlier. In previous years, in the early years, we launched on World Ranger Day itself for obvious reasons. Yeah, we found that going early last year was probably too early. There's an awful lot of other activity happening on World Ranger Day. So we feel and hope that launching ahead of World Ranger Day gives the launch of the Wildlife Ranger Challenge a bit of space to do a lot of digital or social media activity next week. We will be releasing the updated Wildlife Ranger Challenge film, which is available in the marketing toolkit. We'll be putting out on our side newsletters. We will be sending the press release and hoping to generate a lot of coverage from that. We will be, over the course of this year, getting ambassador involvement again. We have support from the US actor Alexander Drayman, and we will, towards the end of the campaign, hope to have the involvement of Bear Grylls again, and a number of our other ambassadors along the way. Next slide, please, Cory. So yeah, World Ranger Day itself, as ever, is on the 31st of July, which this year falls on a Thursday. As just mentioned, we've launched previous year's campaign on World Ranger Day because it's obviously seemed most appropriate to do so. But over the years, we've become conscious that many of you wanted to be doing your own messaging about your rangers on that day. You've got your own, specific campaigns and messages that you want to get across. So while we will be posting about World Ranger Day over our various channels and building up momentum for the Wildlife Ranger Challenge in general, it's a bit less of a pivotal day for WRC, but one for generic messaging about rangers and the work they do in general. Next slide, please, Coral. We then head into the training challenges. We used to call these the mini challenges, but yeah, we feel that training challenges is a better reflection of what they're all about. The quiz, as mentioned earlier, will be taking place first, and that's going to be launching soon after launch day next week. And then a number of training challenges happen across August and into September, all designed to showcase the work that rangers do, and the fitness that's required to be a ranger, and to build momentum to race day itself. Next slide, please, Coral. So yeah, going into a little bit more detail on these. And yeah, we've sent some details out already on the WhatsApp group about the training challenge quiz next week, which then will be followed after World Ranger Day, and as we get into August, by the push-up challenge, all of which the quiz and the push-ups have been these training challenges since the Wildlife Ranger Challenge was first launched. There is a public quiz, which for your ranger teams can also be used for practice, but is also a handy thing to link to if you want to involve your supporters and give them a little flavour of what the rangers themselves are doing. And of course, across all these training challenges, we will be encouraging our supporters, and we encourage you to encourage your supporters to have a go themselves, and train like a ranger, with that hashtag there. Next slide, please. So then the final two training challenges are the sit-ups, which, like the push-ups and quiz, have been there throughout the Wildlife Ranger Challenge since the start. The time trial, this is the second year we're doing the time trial, which is a 2.4 kilometer race, which is part of standard ranger training, running without packs or weights, and is a way of assessing fitness levels. So that we put that towards the end of the Wildlife Ranger Challenge and just before race day this year. Last year we had it a little earlier. We had the year before last, we trialed a canine challenge, but for a variety of reasons, not least the fact that everyone uses canine units in a very different way, it was difficult to make that a challenge as such. But we do, as we did last year, encourage you to showcase the work that you do with your canine units. You can, of course, run with your canine units on that time trial day, and showcase them then. There is also World Dog Day on Tuesday, the 26th of August, conveniently within the time frame of the campaign, which presents a great opportunity to showcase your canine units. Next slide, please. And then this all builds up to race day on Saturday, the 20th September, which, as always, is the culmination of the Wildlife Ranger Challenge, the opportunity to generate as much fundraising and as much awareness as possible. This is really, the pinnacle of the challenge. Promote your fundraising page to your sponsors, your donors, ahead of this, the half marathon with heavy packs on is no mean feat. So yeah, do use that as a big hook to drive your fundraising. There's a great deal of social media activity on race day. We also adapt the Wildlife Ranger Challenge website so that can be used as a hub for information on race day, and also the WhatsApp group is, as you can imagine, awash with images and details of all the teams taking part. Next slide, please, Carl. And yeah, as for the digital fundraising campaign itself, we'll go into this a little bit more when we move on to the fundraising. But there are different channels of income. Obviously, for all of you, it's about getting donations, sponsorship in for your Ranger teams, either offline, and Julie will talk about offline donations, which are best sent directly to us, or through your fundraising page, which Coralie will talk us through. We, meanwhile, as Tusk, will be directing our supporters to the main donate page on the Wildlife Ranger Challenge website to provide general donations, which at the end will be distributed amongst all those taking part. So yeah, we run it as a sort of a Ranger Fund match appeal for those general funds for everyone taking part. In the first couple of years, we had a number of public supporters who would take on their own challenge wherever they are in the world. They would run a half marathon in solidarity with the Rangers and get their friends and family to sponsor them wherever they are taking part. That still happens, but it at a much reduced level. The sort of the appeal of doing these virtual public challenges has dropped away a little since COVID, but the opportunity is still there. So if you do know of people wanting to do that, then the opportunity is there. Information is on the Wildlife Ranger Challenge website. So if you have supporters who are interested, do send them that way. And then obviously, we use social media as a main platform for driving awareness and support. Next slide, please. Great. I'm now going to hand over to Brandon, our communications officer, who together with Beth oversees our social media activity ourselves, and he'll walk you through some ideas and top tips for social media and some of the other comms activity that we're doing.
Thanks, Dan. Hello, everybody. Yeah, well, as you can see from the slide, we've put together a few sort of press points for you, really. And in the marketing guide, the social media page sort of runs you through sort of an overview, really, and a filleted kind of guide to get going on social media. A couple of templates there. We've called them templates. They're more suggested content. Obviously, most of you, if not all of you on here, will have social media channels and be active on them. So we're kind of looking to support you with your own assets on there rather than give you specific assets per se. Obviously, if we provided you with images and it's in a different country, in a different environment altogether, then it's not going to be particularly relevant for your campaigns. So you will notice in the marketing toolkit, there's it's called, it's the overlay social media. If you go into the social media assets, it's a WRC post overlay. So what that basically is, it's the bottom banner that you'll see on all the posts in the social media assets. So we'd encourage you to use your own images and then use that as the overlay to make it specific and tailored to your own campaigns. Going on to this slide, the collaborative posts on Instagram is a fantastic little feature now, and we'd encourage anything that you're putting up to collaborate with us, tag Tusk, invite us as collaborators, and we'll do what we can to share and amplify your campaigns. Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, obviously we can repost, reshare on there as well with the various tags and TikTok campaigns. I mean, TikTok for this will be great if you've got active TikTok accounts. The build up with the challenges as well, it's got some nice opportunities there for some really rich content. I mean, obviously with the press ups and the push ups, sorry, and the different challenges building up, there's some really good opportunities there to sort of add a little fun element into your campaigns. I mean, to be frank, no one really wants to watch 30 seconds of someone doing push-ups. Although, the challenge is hard, but if you can add any little features to just engage and interact with people, that would be wonderful. And also on that, we do have a key messages document, which is, I would say, very key in the sense of why the challenge is there in the first place. People will donate to the people. People donate to people, as in they will be interacting with yourselves, but also to the overall cause. People don't really donate to an event. They donate to what the event signifies and what it actually supports. So keep that in mind for your social media. And as I said earlier, with the social media templates in the marketing guide, you'll see that they're there as a insert organization name. Obviously, you will have your own tone of voice in your social media and your communications. So absolutely encourage you to carry on with that so it doesn't seem like it's a complete gear change with your content, overtaking something that someone else has written for you, which is never going to work well. On the hashtags, I think Dan touched on them earlier, but yeah, for Wildlife Rangers is the main campaign hashtag. Wildlife Ranger Challenge and Train Like a Ranger are the secondary hashtags. I encourage you to use for Wildlife Rangers and all three if you can. And as I said, it's imperative for us to be able to support you as best we can. You can collaborate, tag, post on our platform so we can share far and wide with you. And in the marketing guide, the calendar is a really good place to start. I mean, I don't want to tell you how to do things that you know how to do already, but it's got some various key dates in there, which would be a great framework to build any campaign around. And the images that you see there, some of them may be of you, which is fantastic. But if they're not, again, going back to that social media overlay, please do feel free to use that with your own imagery relevant to your areas, your activities. And yeah, it's very key also to get those key messages in where you can on the social media, just to really, really bring back why the challenge is there and what it's supporting, the important work that you're doing. Digital editorial, it's relatively self-explanatory with your own newsletters, e-shots, blogs on various platforms that you may be using. If you need any support with templating or information on that, then we are here. And obviously that's your owned media, and then earned media. If you're releasing press releases, they will be into the marketing guide as they come up. And anything else that's an opportunity that you see, we'd encourage you to go with, and we can support with. And yeah, like Dan said, there will be assets going into that marketing folder as the campaign progresses. Next slide, please. Yeah, and then moving into the actual content to share with us. In brackets, does not always need to be too high quality. It'd be wonderful if it is, just to counter that. But, smartphones now are moving forward at a brilliant rate in some ways. So most of the content, if you've got an iPhone or a good quality Android phone, will be sufficient for what we'd need. The mini challenges, like I said earlier, it would be wonderful if there can be, I'm thinking sort of 30-second films are probably sufficient for this. And if there can be a fun element or a different element, maybe the background, maybe you're in the middle of some wildlife, something interesting, just adding those little tiny little or big elements of interest just to amplify it a bit more than doing the straight up challenges. We'd definitely encourage you to do that. And again, for race day, it does its own work in a lot of ways because obviously, you will be racing with your kit, and it's generally throws off some really good content on there. So that should be good. And the candid day in the life insights. Yeah, this is a really important bit, I think, and it goes back to my comment on the key messages for the campaign. And this is really why we're doing it. And this is, although I'm talking about fun elements in one sentence, I think this bit brings the reality of the challenge, your challenges as rangers, and why these funds are so important to support the important work that you do. And I think these can be as candid as you want and realistic as to what it entails, a day in the life on the patch that you're patrolling. And yeah, with the other bullet points there, wildlife encounters, fantastic. Celebration, camaraderie, motivation throughout the training and the race day. I'd say those things can be adapted also to the day in the life. Celebrations, your wins, camaraderie, motivation, why you do it. I mean, in other media, we're looking at, trying to encourage this to be an aspirational career, and we want to be able to provide content that really amplifies that. And the behind the scenes tours of the protected area. For you, it's a day to day. For people tapping into the campaign, it's a wonderful source of rich content. So I would encourage you to not keep it a secret, what's in the background, what's in the foreground, what you can see, we want to see, because it's wonderful wherever you are. And the important bit, once you've got that content, WeTransfer is fantastic. You can literally just drop it on there. I think the phrase on the screen is drop it like it's hot, and then press go, and then go to info wildlife challenge, wildliferangerchallenge.org, and it will wing over to us. WhatsApp is fine for some things, but it does tend to compress files. So if it's just for ease of speed, then WhatsApp, great. But if you can and you have the time to send better quality files over WeTransfer, definitely encourage you to do that. And again, if there's anything on the overlay, the social media, just going back to that bit, if any of the key message details within the social media assets you would like to use over your own imagery, then we can also provide those as overlays too. I think that brings the communications overview to sort of my part to an end. But again, if there's anything you need, please do just contact us, and things will be updated as the campaign progresses.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Brandon. Coralie, I think we move to you, and I think you're also going to share your screen as well. So over to you.
I am. Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Brandon. Good morning, good afternoon, all. I'm Coralie. I'm the digital lead at Tusk. And if you've been on one of these webinars before, you will have seen me before, kind of presenting on this. So yes, welcome to those who've been here before, and welcome to those that are new. My role here right now is just to take you through our sort of fundraising pages, and just we've had a bit of an overview of kind of what you've been sent, but I just kind of want to go into the detail of that a little bit more. But I also, yes, please can I apologise for the red squiggles on everybody's screen. That was something that happened at the start of the call, and I really didn't want to stop Brandon or Dan's flow to fix it. So yes, please forgive the red squiggles.
Right, bite my tongue so many times on those, Coralie.
Hey, anyway, thanks all. So yesterday, an email was sent out to all of your sort of key points of contacts for your primary point of contact, your fundraising point of contact, and your comms point of contact will have received an email, a fairly lengthy email with your logins for your fundraising pages. So those fundraising pages have been built for you by the team at Tusk. And yesterday you will have got that link, and you will have got the login to be able to access those pages directly yourself, so that you can start to drive drive them and completely make them your own. The timeline's a little bit different this year in that last year they were kind of opened early. We shared them early and then there was a little bit of time. But in fact, this year, they've got them now and they will be going live, those pages, today. So we would encourage obviously for the key launch to be on event day, but just so you know that those pages are open as of straight after this call. And then just so looking at this slide from a dates point of view, those pages for donations will be staying open until the end of September. A couple of just links just to flag to you just really specifically here. So obviously the main website is on wildliferangerchallenge.org. To get to the fundraising website, there's actually, you will note just a little dot here. It's wildlife.rangerchallenge.org, and that will take you to the sort of the front page of the whole WRC fundraising campaign. And then all of your fundraising pages that have been built are within that. And then this other link, which is the toolkit link, which I will go through more. And Dan has already mentioned. Right, next slide. So I'll go through this in a little more detail actually live in a second, but from the link that you were sent in your email yesterday, you will head through to your page and you will log in. You will see this come up here. So this is the sort of grab of the front page, and you will log in. You might see the word Stock Crowd kind of around because our fundraising platform is powered by Stock Crowd. So yeah, if you're ever kind of concerned about sort of seeing that is the name of the platform and is how it all works. Just a quick overview again. I will go into the detail of this in a minute. This page is yours, and there are elements within it that you can update, but the key thing I would want to show you how to update today is the blog elements. So that I really encourage you, alongside your social media that you're putting out. It's great to keep this page fresh and adding in what's going on, and you can actually even link your Strava to it if that's something that you wish to do, but I will show you how to do this in a second. With this link that was shared and your primary fundraising page, get it into your socials as much as you can, get it out to your donors as much as you can, feed it into your own marketing materials. This is where, you can encourage donations direct to all of your efforts for the Wildlife Ranger Challenge. You can get a QR code, which I'll show you how to do in a second, that you can generate from within the dashboard of the page. And again, that's something that I would encourage you to be putting into particularly printed materials where relevant, and so that you can then, it's just an extra element in your toolkit for promoting this link. So without further ado, I'm going to give you a little bit of an online tour and just go through a few different elements at the back end. So first here. Oh, the red squiggles. I'm going to have to try and ignore them. Right. So this is the main Wildlife Ranger Challenge website, and you will see now that we have a Ranger Team page. This is accessible from the front page of the site, but we can also get to it now through the events section here. But you will see all of the organisations and teams that have signed up to take part this year. And later today, you will see a Support Now button that will come up on this page. So if you want to promote the wider challenge and your sort of compatriots across Africa who are taking part, then this is a great page to link to, and you will be able to get to kind of everybody's pages and see everybody that's taking part with you this year. So that is, yes, a list of all pages, and I say there will be a link here that goes to everyone's individual fundraising pages later today. This is the front page of our fundraising platform, and again with the wildlife.rangerchallenge.org, which you will land on. The link that I've sent you is actually for your fundraising page, but you can log in also through here, which I'm going to do now, just to go to a dummy page that I set up yesterday. So this is the login with the details in your email, and this will bring you through to a dashboard. I'm going to give you a very quick overview here. You will see your page down here for updating. You can also update the page from this section here, your fundraising pages. You'll see the same thing here. And then as your donations start to come in through your page, you will see those listed in this section here. I'm just going to come back here and draw, before I go into the page, I just want to draw your attention to these icons here. This one will take you through just to be able to edit your page. That's just particularly the core elements within the header image and the logos and the text within the page. We've put in dummy text, but feel free to change it. This is the most key element that I want to show you, this post and update. Post and update is where you can add in the elements to make this page feel fresh and feel like it's your own. So I will just go through each of the icons. This allows you to share your link. You've got the link already. This will allow you to connect to Strava. If you have a Strava account and you want to connect it to your fundraising page for your training, to log your training, that's another great way of using this page. Not required, but that functionality is there. And then here, this settings section, you can view your page and edit your contact info. We would ask you not to change your password. If you need to, please do let us know, just so that we can kind of help you with this page too. And then here is the QR code I mentioned just now. If you want to create a QR code, you can do that here and use that in your marketing materials. Those are the key elements there. So I'm just very quickly going to go in just to show you the bits that you can edit on your page. So all of these elements have been pre-locked and loaded in the pages we've built for you, but you feel free to change all of them. There are restrictions on character counts you need to be mindful of. But feel free to add, augment, remove. This is your page. The things that are fixed are the end date for fundraising, which is the 30th of September, as I mentioned before, and your target. Obviously, you can change, as you wish. We've locked and loaded all of your logos into this area, and you should see that all of the images that you provided in that initial application form are what you see up in the header. But you don't need to keep that. You can change that. You would just come in and add in your picture here and find an image and upload that. I think it's all fairly self-explanatory. If you get lost, we will be here to help. There is a fantastic link in the toolkit, which is this one here, which is the stock crowd, sort of how to, update your page, which is a very rich source of information of how you can add content to this page. So I will add that link into the chat in a second, but also it is sort of deep within all of your other content too. Lastly, I'm just going to come and do this post and update. So here, it gives you the option to connect your Strava here as well, but I'm going to just quickly add a blog entry. So you'll see this is where I can add the blog entry. And just before I do that, I'm just going to show you, this is what the page looks like right now. And you'll see there's this sort of big blank area here. By adding in this an update. So I'm very quickly just going to get a bit of content to add in here. Well, she thought she was. Hang on a second. So I was going to, please do, put in your own content here. But just as I thought as a good start of 10, that, being able to just put in some of the links, some of the videos that we've provided to you in the kit. So here we have a blog entry that I prepared earlier. So this is one just, you can put it about learning about the WRC. We've created a video called the WRC in numbers. And within this blog post, you can add in images and you can add in a video. So put in the title. And here, this was a video of our WRC in numbers. So you will add that into here. And the very key thing you have to remember to do is to do this plus sign. Something that I've gone wrong with a few times is that if you do this plus sign, that it will then add that video to that post. You'll see there's options for images. There's options for this to add in activities and distances. So if you wanted to add in your training distances, you can also do that. But just to show you how a video would sort of render, that comes through. And then if we just come back and refresh that page, you will see that has kind of appeared down here. Put in, as much information as through your training challenges. Put in information about your training challenge on race day. Put in information about race day. I really encourage that this is where your page can really come alive. And then just one thing I did want to flag, because it's not necessarily obvious, is if you made a mistake on a blog post and you wanted to remove something, you actually have to do that through here as well. So if you come back into your post an update, you'll see all of your past posts here, but this is where you would delete it. It's not, it's a bit illogical. It's not within the page. You do it here. I am going to, stop that on that now. Please do, if you have any questions, you can message us now. You can ask us in a minute. The WhatsApp group is there, and please do DM us to ask questions, and we are here to support you. One final thing I'm going to do is just, we've mentioned various different toolkits. There are three key things. The instructions, which we've sent out. So we've had the instructions, the marketing toolkit, and the fundraising toolkit. Dan and Brandon have gone through the marketing toolkit in quite a lot of detail. But then, just in your fundraising toolkit, I'm just looking at it through Dropbacks right now, so it doesn't show the full file name, but that you have other banner images, other icons, some details, and then further instructions, and a set of useful links in that box. So I'm just going to head back round to here. That is the end of my tour. I hope that was helpful to you all. And Dan, I'm going to hand back over to you now.
Thank you very much, Coral. Yeah, that's great. It is a great deal to take in, but as Coralie says, actually, when you get stuck in, it's fairly self-explanatory, and obviously you don't have to use all of the features and functions. But we have noticed over the years that while some teams, get off to a great start with their online fundraising pages and really make the most of it, many teams don't. So we are here to help with those who want a bit more advice and how to get off the ground. But it's all very well us talking about it and giving the theory. But this year we thought it would be particularly useful to hear from one of the teams that has had particular success with their fundraising, both online and offline every year. And so I'd like to introduce you to Rachel and Victoria from Conservation South Luangwa in Zambia to just talk us a little bit through their experiences of how they've succeeded with their fundraising. So over to you, Rachel and Victoria. Perhaps you could tell us how you have maximized your fundraising.
Thanks, Dan, and everyone at Tusk. And first of all, before I get into that, I just wanted to say thanks again to Tusk for the amazing opportunity that we thought would only last 1 year during COVID, that has gone on and on and on. So every year when you say it's back on again, we are thrilled. So thank you. So I think from Conservation South Luangwa's side, we've been very lucky. Partly, I think, because of where we live and maybe the access that we have to lots of different people with the Wildlife Ranger Challenge. But also, I will say that we do put in an awful lot of effort into the fundraising. But I think what I think about it, it's not that complicated. So what we tend to do, the first thing is from CSL's side, we maximize our existing donors. So I've been kind of plugging away since January, February, talking to existing donors and telling them that the Wildlife Ranger Challenge is coming back again this year, and that as far as possible, can they hold on to any donations that are going to be made in the latter half of the year? So from now onwards, can they hang on to those donations and plug them through the Wildlife Ranger Challenge through CSL's page? And I think that's the key thing that has really worked for us. And if we're not on top of that on a regular basis, it slips between the lines and it gets sent to us directly through CSL's other bank accounts. So I think that's the key thing, is maximizing any existing donors, having good communications with them, talking to them about the Wildlife Ranger Challenge. And that's all the stuff that comes online. I think, Victoria, feel free to chip in whenever you like, but I think for us, we've had a few new donors to CSL because of the Wildlife Ranger Challenge, but the majority are already existing ones. That's one tip. Secondly, I think for us this year, we may potentially find it a little bit harder to get the max amount. So we're going to be very specific in creating some stories surrounding our need for the Wildlife Ranger Challenge. And they're probably going to focus on a lot of the US funding cuts that CSL has faced. And I imagine there's a lot of people on this call, and those who are not, who are in a similar situation. So I think, yeah, that would be my other tip, is to create your own personal organizational stories. And, exactly what Brandon said, don't just use the images only and the template, but make it more of a personal thing that's suited to you and your organization, and try and get funding that way. So I think those are the two major tips from our side. Victoria, if you're there, do you have anything else?
I am here.
There you are.
Yeah, I agree completely. I think we have worked year on year to kind of get those existing donors to get excited every year that it's happening again. And while it doesn't necessarily help everybody right now, it's kind of a longer term. We get people asking, shall I keep the donation? What's happening? It's really kind of become part of how we communicate and how we engage, particularly individuals, where that match is incredibly attractive, and has that really good feel good factor. And yeah, it's sort of nothing really different to what Rachel said, but we do often get good responses from our newsletters. So we try and really not overload people. It's a difficult balance to tread, but to really make sure we're keeping that communications up throughout the campaign, giving people those opportunities, getting them excited. So yeah, this year it will have that US funding angle a little bit more. But yeah, I don't think I've got anything else to add.
Fantastic. No, that's great to have your insights. And I mean, just out of interest, do you find that your donors are happy to hold back their donations and give them through the WRC in order to unlock that match for you? Has it changed anything in your relationship with them?
Yeah, I think overall very happy. It is a bit of a balance, sort of cash flow wise, both for the donors and for us as well, particularly this year. It's not, because the funds are also for 2026 or for the following year. We have to be careful about who and how we ask. They also, not everybody's able or willing to hold on. It is a case by case, but we have overall had an extremely positive response and interaction on that. And as it is kind of demonstrated by the fact that the same people are kind of lining up the next year to do the same, because they know how it works, and it's an easy process for them as well. I think that helps a lot.
Yeah, I'll just add on one thing there. We have some very specific people who get very excited about the fact that they're donating, and we're basically getting free money because of their donation, and people love that. And they also, it's for the organizations that aren't in the same position as we are, there's definitely a feel-good factor that it's helping other organizations on the continent as well.
That's great. That's wonderful to hear. Fantastic. Well, thank you both. Thanks, Rachel. Thanks, Victoria. Okay, conscious of time, we've got a few minutes left. Julie's going to walk us through the finance, because I know that the match presents such a great opportunity, but it also generates a lot of questions. So Julie will talk us through the financial aspect, and then hopefully we'll have a little bit of time still at the end for some questions. But if not, we can always follow up offline. So next slide, Coral, and over to Julie.
Thanks, Dan. Hello to everybody there. Now, I imagine most of you, or your organisations at least, have been through the WRC a few times. So first thing to say is that there's no change to the way that the finances are being structured. It's all going to run in the same way that it has previously. So we've got a match pot this year, a little higher than we've had in previous years. We've got 1.4 million. But we are working hard, and when I say we, I mean the fundraising team are working hard to increase that. So hopefully by September, that might be 1.5, be 1.6 if we're lucky. So that will work in the same way as always with any funds that you raise directly for your own PA. will have a guaranteed uplift of 25%. That comes out of that match pot. And then the 75% balance goes into what we call the Ranger Fund, which then will be distributed across all of the PAs at the end of the challenge. The guaranteed uplift is capped at $50,000. So $200,000 of fundraising will release a guaranteed uplift of $50,000. And we cap it at that just to try and make sure that there's everybody has a fair sort of, bite out of the match pot. And we don't have some sort of runaway success eating up half of the match pot. So that's why we cap it at that. Can we go to the next slide, Coral? Thank you. So in terms of your donations, obviously the majority of donations that come in are raised by you, the protected areas, with your own donors. And that's the majority of the sort of the fundraising that comes in and unlocks the match. Some of those are subject to fees. So where your donors are giving online, there are external credit card fees or website fees, but Tusk doesn't take any admin or any fees. So everything that we receive, we send out to you with the uplift. And once again, we're suggesting that if anyone knows of a donation that's coming that's $1,000 or more, and that's not a hard and fast rule, but anything a bit more substantial, if you have the contact and you know it's coming, direct them to us, because we can avoid any sort of platform fees if they're happy to just send it directly to us. But yeah, the easiest thing to do there is just to introduce your donor to myself on email, and you should have all of those details. Forgot where I was going. US. So we find that sort of the funding, probably about 50% of that comes through the US, and we are able to provide US tax receipts. So that makes it much more tax efficient for your US donors to give. They still get their tax receipt for US tax purposes. So we do that through our Friends Fund with CAF America. So again, if you have any donors, just direct them to us and we can give them the details for either going down the CAF America route to get their US tax receipt, or coming direct to Tusk and they get a UK tax receipt. And as I say, avoids those platform fees for yourselves. Fundraising closes at the end of September. The first week of October is very frantic here, trying to reconcile everybody's accounts and get statements out to you. So in terms of sort of the funds actually getting to you, you will be invited on the 13th of October to submit an application for the funds. You'll be given a breakdown of what your fundraising is, and the guaranteed uplift, and what you've been invited to apply for from the Ranger Fund. And we do try and send statements as well, so you can see a breakdown of what your own fundraising is and just confirm that everything you were expecting is in there. And then the grants go through a period of assessment internally, obviously, and with the technical committee, and the funds will be distributed to you at the end of November, once we've been through all of that process. So obviously there's a sort of a cash flow implication, I realise, for a lot of those donations. But because of our due diligence processes, it has to go through that. So end of November, and they are for the 2026 Ranger activities. So they are for sort of next year's Ranger activities. I'm very conscious that it is now 1 minute to close. Yeah, we'll try and do some quick questions now, but feel free to WhatsApp me or email me or pick up the phone if you've got any specific questions on the finances and how that all works. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Julie. Yeah, next slide, please, Coral. We are more or less done, and as Julie says, we're almost out of time as well. Yeah, those are the dates for grant distribution that Julie went through. But yeah, how to contact us. Yeah, please, if it's a lot to take in, as we've said, but we will circulate the recording of this webinar along with a transcript and the presentation itself in the marketing toolkit. But yeah, do get in touch. The main email is info@wildliferangerchallenge.org, but do also use the WhatsApp group. There is the special WhatsApp group for fundraising contacts this year, as well as the main one. So yeah, if you've got any specific questions, do get in touch. We are almost out of time. I have seen one question in the chat, which is from Richard at CTPH at Team Gorilla about the TikTok handle. So yes, I don't think we have a specific dedicated handle for the Wildlife Ranger Challenge, because we would use our Tusk platform, which is at tusk_org. And in terms of hashtags for the campaign, they're across all platforms we're using. The main hashtag for the campaign is for Wildlife Rangers, along with Wildlife Ranger Challenge and hashtag Train Like a Ranger for the training challenges. We request that you tag Tusk and Game Rangers Association of Africa in your social media posts. And then that also helps us to keep an eye on for doing our own reposting. All of the details are in the marketing guide. And do go and check out what's in the marketing toolkit as well, and get in touch if you've any questions. We are out of time now, so if you are happy to stay on and have any questions, do pop them in the chat. Thank you to everyone who's joined today. Do feel free to drop off the call now. If you haven't already done so, please just quickly put your name and protected area in the chat so that we do have a record of everyone who's joined. Otherwise, we'll stay on for a couple of more minutes in case anyone does have any questions and is happy to run over. Otherwise, thank you again for joining. Please feel free to leave. So yeah, do raise a hand or shout out if you have any questions and are happy to join, or put it in the chat. Otherwise, yeah, I can see, yeah, people are dropping off, but yeah, happy to take any questions. Thanks for adding your name and protected area. That's great. Thanks, Richard. Great. There's a question from Talia Great Plains Foundation. Yes, what's your question?
Yes, hi Dan, thanks. Sorry, there was a moment where I think it must have glitched on my side, but I think it was who was it? Brandon talking about a calendar. I missed that. Is there a specific calendar that we need to be following besides the challenges, of course, for posts, or are we free to just create our own?
Well,
It
no,
was in the
yeah,
sorry.
go on, Brandon. Yeah, sorry.
It was in the marketing guide, page 4, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's just the general WRC calendar. I'm just
Okay.
suggesting as a framework, if you did want to build a
Oh,
date
perfect.
plan for your social interactions, then it's a
Yeah.
good place to start. It's got the key
Okay,
dates
great.
on there, so you can
Okay.
go on there. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I saw that one. I just wanted to make sure there wasn't a specific posting day that you're
No,
looking for.
no,
Okay, great.
that's the one I meant. So they haven't missed anything, don't worry.
Yeah, no,
Okay,
that's
great.
it. Yeah. I mean, obviously, key days are in there. Launch next Tuesday, race day, everything else around the challenges, World Ranger Day, and I think I mentioned also there's World Dog Day if you want to showcase your canine units.
Yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise, yeah, all in that marketing guide PDF.
Okay, wonderful.
No worries.
Thank you.
Great. All right. I can't see any more questions.
Dan, there is one that's just come in on the WhatsApp group,
Oh,
which
okay.
I'm not sure if Maura's still on the call, but I will answer her directly. But just in case it's relevant for anyone else, she was just asking about the QR code for the fundraising page, and just to quickly run through that is you need to just log into your dashboard and go to the settings zone on the tile on your dashboard, and there is an option there to get your a QR code, which will then go straight to your fundraising page. I think I can see another one might have just pinged in there.
Yeah, another question has just pinged in from Gilbert asking, do we ask our donors to send through the new page from Tusk and pause donations to our donate pages? Yes, in order to qualify for the match under the Wildlife Ranger Challenge, do please direct them to your fundraising page. Although also, as Julie pointed out, if it's a large donation, then just direct them directly to us and we can send the bank details for a direct transfer. But yes, in order to qualify the match, we have to be able to know that it's for WRC either through direct comms or through your fundraising page. Great. All right. Thanks, everyone. I don't see any more questions or raised hands. So thank you to everyone who's stayed. Sorry that we've overrun a little bit, but I hope that's been useful. We will, like I say, share the details and share the recording so that you can always go back over it at your leisure. But otherwise, good luck with the Wildlife Ranger Challenge. Good luck with your fundraising. Do keep in touch. Let us know if you have any other questions. And in the meantime, have a fabulous weekend. Thank you for joining. Bye for now.